Today's episode of Not Another Gaming Podcast is brought to you by the good folks at Echo Gear. Echo Gear monitor mounts are designed with gamers in mind. They know how important it is to reduce clutter and distraction while gaming, and that the best way to do that, folks, is to have your monitors in the exact position that you want. No need to open 82 tabs to find what you want. Echo Gear monitor mounts are built with high-quality materials, and they offer butter-smooth, on-the-fly screen height and angle adjustments for complete control. For you control freaks out there, they got you in mind. Whether you need desk or wall mounts, you got 1, 2, 3, 86 monitors. You want horizontal or vertical displays or both, Echo Gear's got you covered. Setup takes 15 minutes. Product designs are universal, and all mounts are backed with a 5-year warranty. Echo Gear's pros are just a quick call away, and they are available 7 days a week for support. Whew. No new friends. We love Echo Gear. They love us right back, and we love you, and that is why we don't want you to pay full price for this stuff. Echo Gear, they hit us up. They said, Dom, Chris, Rob, don't you ever let any of your loyal listeners, your friends, don't you let anybody in the pack ever pay full price for a monitor mount or a phone charger or anything in between ever again. Because if you go to echogear.com or you go to amazon.com and shop for an Echo Gear product and you use the code WICKEDGOOD at checkout, you're going to get 15% off. I am not shitting you. Echo Gear monitor mounts are the truth. I've got one hung. My monitor is hung right now with an Echo Gear monitor mount. And let me tell you, it gets the ladies' attention. So if you want to make sure that your monitor is hung the right way, you make sure you go to echogear.com or amazon.com and use that promo code WICKEDGOOD at checkout for 15% off. That is all we got. Episode 136 of Not Another Gaming Podcast is coming in hot. Enjoy the show. Yo, welcome back to Not Another Gaming Podcast. It is your boy, Papa Dom. I am feeling lively. I'm feeling 50 years younger. I just ate the fattest burger of my life after a nice little workout, so I'm feeling like about 75 cents. And we're back. It's episode 136 of the most dangerous gaming podcast on the internet. Nobody's safe when we out here. And I've got two beautiful co-hosts, and I do mean beautiful. First up, on our left, gorgeous Bob himself. Dr. Bob, how are you?
What's up? I'm doing all right. Been a long couple of weeks at work. It's been a long couple of weeks in general.
Yeah.
Things have been really crazy. But gotta give a big shout out to our pal Plastics, aka Kung Fu Ken. Tier 1 sub, 21 months in a row. He's currently living his best life at a Lil Wayne concert, and he loves you guys, but not me. Fuck me. Whatever.
21 months.
Dude, he's just upset that I'm so much better at teamfight tactics than he is.
Oh, shit.
Yikes.
Shit.
Look, I played with him a couple of times. He's pretty fucking bunchy.
Gobbo?
He fucking stinks. He's buns. He's buns.
Oof. Speaking of buns, those motherfucking buns of steel. The nice little blue background, looking like we're in the New England Aquarium right now. I feel like I'm looking at a pool liner behind you, but a real handsome guy in the foreground, Mr. Chris P. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great, Dom. I love the way that you were able to kind of misdirect that comment about my buns of steel to talking about the blue lights in my room, just because why not? But I'm doing great, man. Welcome back. It's your boy, Chris P., tall and lanky.
Yeah. I missed last week. At this point, I don't know what my life is. Wedding planning is incredibly hectic. Thank God. I know Lauren doesn't listen to this podcast, but thank God for her, because I have no idea. Like, if it was two people just like me that were planning a wedding, I would be at a Chuck E. Cheese ball pit right now with a party hat on and a fucking ring pop on both of our
Sounds like a good time.
Yeah, honest to God, I'm still thinking of doing it. So, yeah, I mean, things have not gotten any less stressful. In just a couple weeks is the big day. And basically, I'm counting podcast episodes. And there's like literally, this is one, and then there's two more before the wedding, which is bananas. So, one of my last... Kenny goes, fuck Rob, he sucks, bye. Thank you. Enjoy the Lil Wayne concert. And thank you for... I didn't even know that they had service. Like, the last time I was at a concert where he is, I literally could not use my phone. So good for him.
That's some dedication right there at a concert too.
Hey, that's like a Lil Wayne pun too. Dedication.
Oh, see what I did
Oh,
there?
see?
Didn't even do that.
Nice little segue. And we're going to segue right into our first segment. I feel like we kind of blend, we cross the streams a little bit when we kind of intro, and then we usually just like fall straight into the weekend recap anyway. But we're going to open the tab, do a little weekend recap. Bob, how you doing? How was your weekend, and what have you been playing lately?
Good. I had a nice long break, nice 4-day break. Thanks to the 4th of July. I worked almost 40 hours in 3 days last week.
Jesus.
So the second I got out of work on Wednesday, I came home, I drank 14 Miller Lights, and I played Teamfight Tactics until 4 o'clock in the morning.
Hey.
And then I slept basically all day during the 4th of July. So I didn't do anything. Friday, hung out with my cousins, Chris and Christina. Shout out to them. Saturday, Kaylee and I watched the first half of Stranger Things. Sunday, my dad smoked meats.
Ooh.
And
You have a smoker?
I'm trying to think. Yeah, he's got 2.
How have I never noticed that in your backyard?
He usually they're out there. You were there Monday.
I know they usually they might be
There's 2 of
covered.
them.
They're probably
Well,
covered.
yeah, but yeah. I mean, I haven't played anything outside of League of Legends Teamfight Tactics in the past 3 weeks.
Before you finish that sentence, I like actually my heart stopped a little bit. Like I haven't played anything aside from League of Legends, and then
That's look.
League of Legends : Teamfight Tactics.
They know how to fucking hook. They sprinkled a little mozzarella
Ooh.
on a hook,
Mm.
and I fucking sniffed my way over. I bit down, and they fucking all the way back. And they're still fucking dragging me. I've yet to give them my credit card, my new credit card, since the last time I logged into League 4 years ago.
Jesus.
So it's just a matter. But yeah, that game is fucking crack. I got Chris too, my cousin, addicted to it too. Dude, it's a drug. The game is a drug.
Hey, I mean, I'm down to play some auto chess. I just need it to be like in a game I already care about, and I will definitely check that shit out. Speaking of things I care about, Chris,
Oh, how fucking cute.
I'm fucking killing it with the segues this week.
great.
Making up for the Dixie Cup audio quality we had last week. Sorry about that. Chris, how are you? How was your weekend? And what have you been playing lately?
More segues than a mall cop. My week, that was good. That just popped right into my head. Fucking big brain going.
Love that.
My weekend was great. I ended up going to New Hampshire with like 10 of my buddies. We had a trailer out there. And we just kind of hung by the fire, crushed booze, went on this natural lazy river that they have. Maybe it's just called a river. But we got a couple floats, went down the river. It was super nice and chill. Took like 24 spike Celsius for a fucking ride both days. It was phenomenal. A lot of cigs, a lot of spike Celsius, a lot of relaxing. It was a good time. I actually jumped back into playing Clash Royale just because we've been talking about the whole auto chess thing. I was like, oh, like that's the only one that I've really played. So when I was in New Hampshire, I looked over, my buddy was playing. I was like, oh man, you still play that? Like, yeah, for the past 4 years. I was like, oh wow, no shit. So I started playing it, and I picked that up again. And I just have been playing that and a little bit of GTA 5. I also finished Stranger Things Season 3.
Don't say anything.
I'm not. No, I would never spoil anything, but I finished that on Sunday or Monday, one of the two. Really enjoyed it, but no spoilers there. That was my weekend. That's what I've been playing.
Dude, Kaylee and I. All right, so it was downpouring out on Saturday, and we were like, "Fuck it, let's not go do anything. Let's just start watching Stranger Things." I went to the CVS down the street from her house, came back with $30 worth of snacks,
Wow.
and we just sat there for 4 hours.
Wow.
That's
sounds
beautiful.
like
It was great.
Congrats on the love, dude. That's fucking awesome.
I didn't eat a single meal that day, besides all the shitty fucking snacks that we.
Yeah, you look terrible. Dom, what'd you do this weekend?
Listen, I'm so glad that you asked. This weekend was really relaxing, and just like Bob said, I mean, it was good to like decompress and have like, I mean, basically like a 6-day weekend. I took like half the week off of work. Our office was closed the last 2 days of the week, and so I was just like, fuck it, and I took a Wednesday off as well because I figured just nobody that we're calling is in the office anyway. So yeah, I mean, basically a 6-day weekend. Coming back on Monday was brutal. But it's, sometimes it feels good to like get back in the rhythm of things. 3rd of July did the local fireworks thing. 4th of July went into hung out with a couple friends. Went and saw my mom and hung out in some backyards. I think I had back-to-back days of hanging out with Chris.
Oh
if
yeah,
memory serves. There was a lot of like Trulies and Coronas and Budweisers and hot dogs like in between. So like, you know, the memory banks are like chugging right now. But yeah, and then I mixed in a couple beach days too. So I got a couple beach days trying to work on a tan. I look more red than anything right now. And for some reason, no matter how tan I get, my hands will always look pale. It's just a thing that happens. I don't know if it's a vampire thing. I figure I'll get in front of that joke. But yeah, no, my hands will always be pale, and like my thumbs are always like fucking bright red for some ungodly reason. I look like fucking Mewtwo.
Maybe you have like a blood circulation issue.
Okay, fair. I wasn't concerned about that, but now I am, and I'm gonna go fucking WebMD myself to death after this podcast is over. But we'll get right into it. There's a lot of shit that's been happening this week, and even today, honestly. Big announcement. Nintendo confirmed and announced the release date for the Nintendo Switch Lite. I really wish they would have went with like Nintendo Switch Ultra Lite or like Nintendo Switch 100s. Just to you know kind of make sure our core audience is interested. But yeah, the Nintendo Switch Lite is coming in September. $200. It's smaller. I want to say it's like 20% smaller than the traditional Switch. I saw a diagram, so I'm just kind of like eyeballing it, but I didn't get like the hard number on that, so don't quote me. It's definitely not half as small. It's bigger than that. So let's say like 20-30% smaller. The Joy-Cons are like stuck on there. There's like no Joy-Cons anymore. It's just the console. They come in a variety of zesty colors, and you can only play it mobile. So I think, I already have a Switch. It's the best console I've ever bought with my own money. I will scream that from the mountaintops until I die or until a better console comes out. But it has given me so much joy, and I've been playing it all digital all the time for the life of the console that I've had. So I want to hear from you guys. I feel like I got some mixed reactions when we were chatting about this earlier. Chris, what is your take on the Switch Lite? Are you into it? Is it like a pass? What do you think?
I'm very into that because if I don't have a Switch, it's like something I've been talking about for a while that I'm going to get one. But I don't, excuse me, I don't necessarily have a reason to buy it right now. Like everything I'm playing is right on my PC. And if I did have a Switch, I would strictly play it in a handheld setting. I wouldn't hook it up to anything. That's just kind of how I would go about it. Now having this, $200, you can't fucking go wrong with the games that they already have out for Switch and that they'll continue to drop on Switch. It's a big yes from me. I can see myself buying this just because I would play it handheld majority of the time anyway. Yeah. So I'm in.
I think the beauty of it, honestly, like I was looking at my Twitter feed today, and as soon as it got announced, it was like half the people were like, oh my god, this is amazing because I only play my Switch in handheld mode anyway. And some people were like, nah, it's not for me. I'll stick with the regular Switch because I only play it docked. And it's like, there's no other console that you can say that about. And it's so good that they're giving, they've done this with every console every handheld they've ever done, where they give you like a light model for like $100 off. That's kind of usually missing a key feature. They did it with the 2DS and it was not in 3D. So it's like, it's like, what the fuck is the point of this handheld? And now they're doing it with the Switch, and you can't switch.
Well, the point of the 2DS was just to give other people access to the games.
Yeah.
Which is pretty much exactly what is the case with the Lite.
Yeah, they give it on like the earlier or the lighter price point, which is beautiful. Obviously, I know like the point of it is to make sure they can go play that library and be a little lighter on the wallet. But yeah, Bob, what do you think about the Switch Lite? Does it have you intrigued? I know you've been time sharing the girlfriend's Switch, so I don't know if it's just hooking you or what.
I don't know. Like, I'm relatively indifferent on a new model of an upcoming console just because I'm kind of like burnt out by the whole release schedule of every 0.5 edition of every major console that comes out, especially in this generation specifically.
Yeah.
I can appreciate the idea of creating a smaller model and reducing the price, but I feel like the price at that price reduction, you're still kind of missing out on a lot of what accessibility you can have with the Switch. So like if I'm gonna buy a Switch, I want to buy it for two reasons. I want one, accessibility to the games in the game library because they have some of the greatest original content of all time. Two, I want to have the variability to carry it around with me or sit down and play it on TV. So in that case, if I'm going to buy a Switch, I'm going to buy a regular priced one.
Yeah.
So like the idea of it in concept, I like because it's giving more people access to their content.
Mm-hmm.
But in like execution, it's going to be split 50-50 among the consumer base regardless.
Yeah.
People want to be able to do what they want with it. And if they're being pigeonholed into like, no, you can only use it handheld, some people are obviously not going to bite at that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Think of it this way too. So this is just kind of a shot in the dark. So of course, there's people like all of us, an older crowd that loves Nintendo Switch. Some of us have it, some of us don't. But think about the kids that they're like, Mom, Dad, I want a Nintendo Switch for Christmas.
Oh, exactly.
All right, like whatever, we'll go get that. And like, oh, we want to hook it up to the TV now.
Yeah.
It's like, first of all, pain in the ass fucking mooch kid. We're buying you a
Pay
console.
some rent.
Yeah, pay some rent first of all. Stop shitting in your pants. That's what my parents still say to me. But they're just like, all right, fine. Like, there's a Nintendo DS, I was going to say, a Switch Lite. So now we could buy that and we can just give it to Joey in the backseat and say, shut up and just play a Switch. When you get home, there's no option to play on the TV. Go to your room and play.
Yeah.
So maybe
that'll be the buyer base. That'll be,
Yeah.
I anticipate that being the consumer base for the Switch Lite, like 75% being as like Christmas presents for kids.
Oh, dude, it's
100%.
gonna do numbers, and they're dropping it like the week. I think it's the same week that Pokemon Sword and Shield come out, and they have like an exclusive colorway that's like gray, and it's got like the pink and blue for the buttons to match the Sword and Shield. I mean, Nintendo knows how to make their own candy. You know, like they are masterminds at this shit. Personally, I wish that they would take some of these colors and release the individual Joy-Cons so I can like switch that up a bit. I've got a pair of gray ones and a pair of red ones, but I know so many people who are like, I need new colors of Joy-Cons. This is easy money for you to make. They're fucking $85 for the pair. Just give me a color that I want to buy, not like neon pink and lime green, and then like, you know, bright blue and you know, like fire engine red. I mean, I like the red one personally.
Give me a little something more mature for my Nintendo Switch.
Like give me some like muted colors. Give me some pastels.
Ooh, some salmon on it.
Dude, give me an atomic purple. Give me all the colors that like Game Boy Colors and Nintendo 64s used to come in. Do like a legacy collection.
Oh, yeah.
I would not be able to get my fucking card out of my wallet fast enough if they had an atomic purple pair of Joy-Cons. Woo.
So, Dom, for instance, say you didn't have hypothetically speaking.
Yeah.
Since Chris and I both don't have a Switch,
Yes.
if you didn't have a Switch, and say the original Switch and the Switch Lite were being released at the same time, which one would you buy first?
I would get the original Switch still.
Yeah.
I'd get the. I mean, I play enough on desktop. Well, desktop. I don't know. I play enough on my TV to make it worth it. There's something to be said for like, you know, having my Switch on my nightstand and then getting up. Let's say I get up on a Saturday, I got nothing to do. I'm like in the middle of something in Zelda, and then I go and I plug it in my TV with the surround sound, and it's like 4,000 times bigger picture, and then you just get like sucked into that atmosphere, and it makes you, I think, appreciate the console that much more because it is pretty powerful for what it is. I mean, it's basically like still previous gen visuals, or like 1.5 gen visuals, but I mean, it's so beautiful, and like I love the ability. Honestly, if only for the sound, I think it's an amazing I don't know why I keep saying desktop. It's an amazing TV console because the sound quality and the like fidelity and the soundtracks for some of the first party games all the first party games that Nintendo does are always out of control. So if you have good surround sound headphones, you know, that's great. But if not, you know, plugging it into your TV after you've been playing handheld for a little while, oh man, it just fucking blows you away. So
yeah. And that's where it's kind of different. The people that obviously they don't have the option to play on TV anymore with their surround sound. Stick brag, by the way, with your fucking surround sound.
it's not bad.
I don't have any speakers. I have a pair of headphones in my house. But yeah, no, that's where it's going to differentiate. It's going to be strictly the people that don't give a shit about plugging it into the TV compared to the people that bring it portable so they can play on break at work or give it to their kids or something like that. And it's just more entry level. Just, I mean, like I said earlier, it's $200 for a console.
Yeah.
You can't go wrong.
Yeah. I mean, I love that it exists. I mean,
you could get a PlayStation 5. You could get an Xbox One S, the all digital version for $250.
Oh.
For me, this is one of those things that I'm gonna sit and wait for a Cyber Monday deal, where it's like if I can
Prime
get
Day. Oh no, that's like next week.
Prime Day is next week.
Yeah, it comes out in September.
So this is one of those things where it's like Cyber Monday is rolling up. If I can find a deal for a Nintendo Switch Lite that's like $130, $140, and it comes with a game, okay, I'm on board. But if there's also like a regular Switch with a game or two for $200, $220, I'd rather pay the extra.
Yeah.
But that's where I am at this point for the Switch. On Cyber Monday, if there's a good enough deal, sure, I'll think about buying it.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I'm not gonna sprint out and buy it by any. I probably won't buy one regardless of what the deal is on it. But it's just like the option to buy something like that exists now.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
And for me, honestly, like I find myself with increasingly or less and less time to play video games, honestly, like even just to sit down and like play for hours and hours. I've been playing Red Dead 2. I'm trying to like power through that game. And I'm finally like in the last 2 chapters of the game, and it's fucking hard to like carve out time and actually sit down and play for a few hours where I can actually get some meat out of it. So it's nice to be able to pick up my Switch off the dock, especially if like Lauren's catching up on DVR shit. I'll literally just go sit on the other corner of the couch and play Zelda or Mario or, you know, pretty much anything else. I mean, there's so many other like third-party games that are coming to Switch too. I can't wait for fucking Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3 comes out next week. I can't wait for that. I'm at the point now where I'm seriously considering, like, if there's a third-party game that is coming to Switch as well as Xbox, I will more than likely look to the Switch. Even though it might not be the most graphically compelling, it's probably going to be a single-player game. It's probably not an online multiplayer game. And I don't really care about achievements anymore at this point in my life. So that's probably where I'm going to get it. And, you know, like, I never finished The Witcher 3, but that is a little... I'm glad that they're doing it, that they can prove that they can do it. But, like, I don't want to... That's not going to be the definitive experience for that game because it's going to be in, like, 540p. This is actually this is my biggest concern with the Switch Lite, and I forgot about this, is that a lot of games, especially and I gotta look it up for The Witcher 3, but a lot of games have frame rate differences and like visual fidelity differences when they're not plugged into the dock, either whether to conserve battery power or otherwise. So The Witcher is probably the biggest parity that I've seen. So it runs natively at 720p with dynamic resolution when it's docked. The max resolution is 1080p, but it runs 540 on handheld. So
it's gonna be tough.
It's gonna be tough, yeah. And then it's like, you know, it might look a little blurry, it might look a little jagged, the text might not show up as crisp. I'm sure that they're doing everything they can to optimize the game so it looks great. But it's going to be tough for, and I feel for like people who are buying, let's say they're like, I already know I commute 99% of the week. The Switch Lite is the only thing that makes sense for me. They're going to like have a different experience with some games, especially the big heavy third party joints, when they're only playing handheld. So that's one thing that concerns me. Yeah.
Oh, fuck. I commute for like an hour and a half every.
Dude, you would have had Zelda Breath of the Wild 100%ed by now.
Or I would have just like downloaded Smite or something and played that.
Is Smite for Switch?
I think so. I think it's on Switch.
I think it might be as well. I don't think I've downloaded it yet. Warframe's on there too, and it hasn't like grabbed me yet, but it's cool. So yeah, Switch Lite. I dig it. It's not for. I am more partial to the one that can actually switch, but I think it's great for what it is, and I hope that it brings on a lot more people to adopt the console. Like 7 of the best-selling 10 games on Amazon last year were Switch games, which is wild. So, and it's probably all holiday, and it's all like Mario and Zelda, but it doesn't matter. But moving right along. So just this is something that I feel like is going to be a big topic of discussion, and I know that we're going to have some opinions on this because most of us have played both of these games. I've played both of these games. Well, there's 3 games at Toe, but I've played 2 out of the 3 of them. So a No Man's Sky developer was at a developer conference in the UK and basically gave a keynote on like how to address your fan base when you don't meet expectations. I don't know if that was the full topic of the keynote, but basically this guy, Murray is his name. I don't know what his first name is. I want to say, let's say it's Sean Murray. Speaking during his keynote panel at this
lead developer
at this year's Develop conference, he explained how Hello Games turned things around for its seemingly sinking ship, mainly by focusing on post-launch development rather than getting itself into any deeper hot water with more false promises. So he proceeded to take shots at Bethesda and BioWare specifically because No Man's Sky bombed at launch, and it didn't have the majority of the shit that people were promised, and it's basically like a meme at this point. But No Man's Sky Reloaded, or whatever the fuck it's called, is coming out soon, and apparently it looks like everything that everybody's ever wanted and more. But Hello Games basically had about 3 months and change of radio silence completely. They released the game, and a bunch of people were like, holy shit, you're not going to say anything, you're not going to acknowledge that this game is trash, it doesn't work, like the procedurally generated shit is ass. There's so many like meme videos of it on YouTube, it's wild. But he addressed that at this keynote and basically said that they focused on making a better game in those 3 months and getting a head start on it until they had something to really say, rather than talk to the press, rather than release hollow statements, or like put out a roadmap that they couldn't make come true. And he specifically cited Anthem from BioWare and Fallout 76 from Bethesda, and was basically like they should have learned, you know, that you shouldn't just come out and like make a statement and act like you're, you know, fluffing everybody to get some sympathy and get them to play the game. You should just keep your head down, make a better game, and then, you know, come forward when you actually have something to come forward with. So is this like the pot calling the kettle black, or does this guy have a point?
I think he absolutely. Well, he half of his point, where he has a right to call them both out. Like, I can understand where he's coming from, but they did essentially create patches and updates for No Man's Sky. I think it was like 3 to 6 months after release, and the game was touted as being, this is what people expected, this is what people wanted. Now is the best time to jump into No Man's Sky.
Yeah.
So they absolutely turned it around for that game. I'm not going to play it. It's not a game that I.
Yeah.
But for Anthem, I think what it comes down to is the publisher, where it's their BioWare is being controlled by EA to an extent. Like, of course, EA and BioWare both have a say, but if a game is not being successful and you're getting so much backlash from it, EA is just going to say, fuck it, pull it. Like, we're not, the whole 10-year roadmap we expect for this game, it's going to last 10 months. And then we're going to work on something else that's going to make us a fucking $1 billion.
Right.
When it comes to Bethesda and Fallout, and I am one of like the biggest Fallout 76 shit talkers that you guys know, but I love Bethesda games. I love our friends over at Bethesda, and I can appreciate the fact that they still to this day continue to work on that game. BioWare and EA essentially gave up on Anthem, where it's like, okay, we fucked up the loot, we're not going to change it because we want people to buy shit. It doesn't matter. Like, we're going to continue to fuck things up, and we're not going to fix it. So don't get your hopes up. But when it came to Fallout 76, there's updates that are being pushed out pretty regularly, and they're throwing in like additional content, additional free content too occasionally. And like, what was it? I think it was recently they were showing like leaks of there will actually be NPCs at some point.
Yeah.
The whole battle royale thing makes no fucking sense to me. That game does not need it. It feels completely it seems like it's completely out of place. But Fallout 76 is essentially their first like foray into a game as service.
Right.
Everything else that they released up until that point was essentially a single player, either like linear game, like the shooters, or a single player massively open world game. This is their first step into that realm. Hello Games, this is their first fucking step, period.
Yeah.
And they set those expectations super fucking high, and then they fell flat on their face, and they did a good job at picking themselves back up.
Yeah.
But I think if you're going to take shots, you need to acknowledge the fact that, one, this is Bethesda's first try at this, and they're working on it. I'm not going to play Fallout 76, but I can appreciate the people that play it and the people that enjoy it and the effort that they're putting into it. Anthem was just a complete shit show. Fallout 76 was a complete shit show too, but Anthem was fucked up, and they were right to say it, but I think you got to back it up a little bit at some point too, where it's like, yeah, they fucked up, but then they're also still kind of working on it. I don't know.
Yeah,
it's like a dual-edged sword.
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree with you. I think the guy does have a point, and it's easy for him to say this now because he's confident, and it's actually kind of interesting that he is saying this because the No Man's Sky update, I want to say it just actually launched. But he didn't know how that was going to be received. I mean, that could have been shit all over too. I haven't even checked. But it seems like he's confident enough to put out a product that he believes in, and he acknowledged that they fucked up. And basically he said, one of the quotes is like, we went about 3 months without saying anything to the community and the press, but it was even harder saying nothing to our community because people have been following them since 2013 when the game first got teased. And he was like, I sat down so many times and wrote the perfect blog post that was going to explain everything about the game's development and the roadmap going ahead, but I could see it didn't hold any credibility with regards to where we were at, which is like, I have to respect that. I have to respect that. Part of me, because I wasn't like on the hook for No Man's Sky. I wasn't one of the guys who was like, oh shit, this is going to fucking change everything. And I wasn't one of the people who've been bought in since day one. But like Johnny Rootbeer was, and I know that he was hyped as shit for that game. And then when it came out and basically face planted, he was like, well, this sucks. And then I remember hearing how frustrated he was during the couple months post-release, and it was like, wow, it really seems like they're not going to do anything, and they're a pretty small developer. This is like their first step. Like, maybe they're just going to close up shop and like cut and run. But it was a bold move. I mean, it's definitely paying off. I feel like the community, from what I understand about this No Man's Sky community, they're super loyal, and a lot of people have been hanging on, and they've like developed in-game like thank you messages to the developers for like fixing stuff gradually. But I completely respect him saying, listen, I'm going to bite my tongue until I have something to say that's meaningful, and until I have a better understanding of like where we're at in development, so I can actually like live up to my promises. And that's a lesson that I think a lot of developers could learn. Chris, you have any thoughts on that? I know we just talked for like a half an hour.
No, I mean, whatever I say, I'm just going to sound like a broken record. I mean, people are going to have bad things to say about whatever. Everyone's going to have something different to say about the way he handled things. I think, regardless if your game face planted or not, it's so tough to just keep your mouth shut for months and months and not acknowledge that your game was a dumpster fire. Mm-hmm. Like, Fallout 76, like, yeah, it stinks. But they're trying, like they're doing what they can. They're releasing the free DLCs for it. Like they're constantly updating. They're trying. And it's so tough to just sit there after someone purchased your game and just not say anything when you know that game sucks.
Right.
I think this case, like Bob said too, it's a double-edged sword. Like it could have played out perfect. It played out well for what it seems like right now, but it could also play out terribly where the people that are waiting for you to release this update or this statement of what happened, they could be like, fuck this, like I'm so done with this, I don't even care what they say, and then you lose that follower for that brand just because you haven't acknowledged anything. But at the same time, if you're taking your time and then you're releasing something meaningful, that person that held on that whole way, they'll appreciate that. Yeah. Just make sure those people actually hang on and wait for that statement.
Yeah,
I think you have to stand by what you do. I've said that time and time again on this podcast, regardless of what it is, regardless of what your update was, regardless of what you tried to change or something new that you tried to do and it didn't work. It's your company. That's your baby. Like you created that thing from the ground up to an extent. Mm-hmm. And you have to stand by it to some extent, regardless if it sucks or not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think for me, it doesn't have to be black and white. It doesn't have to be you either say nothing or you put out like a fucking 2-page lengthy blog post apologizing, because God knows we've seen a billion of those in the last year, 2 years, right? I feel like we've seen more backtracking, more apologies, more open letters, more mea culpas in the last 2 years than we've ever seen in the rest of the history of video games, personally. I would be willing to go back and count them all. And I can name probably about 5 or 6 off the top of my head. That being said, I feel like, especially for a company like Hello Games, and I did fact check it, and his name is Sean Murray, so shout out to me for just profiling Irish people. Comes with the territory. Like, you have to... There could be a middle ground, and he could put out a short statement, a tweet even, and say, listen, we know the launch isn't what people expected. I promise we are working on it. We're going to go radio silent for a couple months, keep our heads down, and create the best game possible. We hear you, we're listening, and we're going to make it right. Stay tuned.
Yeah.
Look at it. Hold on. Look at it this way. At least they didn't do what EA did with fucking Battlefield, where it's like, hey, look, if you don't want female protagonists, fuck you, don't buy our game. And then when people didn't buy their game, they
like,
go,
whoa.
They go, oh, it's just a bunch of angry men gamers. You fucking told people not to buy your.
Right.
Like, at least they, not only did they say, fuck you, if you don't like this, don't buy our game, but then they followed it up. Instead of being radio silent, they followed it up after their horrible fucking sales reports and said, fuck you, you didn't buy our game because you're angry men.
I feel like they probably could have gone about that. Like, again, there could have been a middle ground there where they can say, hey, like, we, like, if people are mad about the historical accuracy, you know, this is a game that we've prioritized, like, fun. You know, it's a fucking shooting game where you can get shot 8 billion times with a mortar and die. So we just want to make sure, like, everybody has a good time, and we think this is a unique spin on a World War I or World War II game. I don't know what Battlefield 5 was. And I think that would be a lot better than fuck you, don't buy our game, because then you're asking for people not to buy it regardless of why they're mad. Right. Like, if and
then doubling down after.
Right. There could have been an easier way to do that, you know, regardless of how you feel about the argument. And I mean, like, if like 343 did that with, like, Halo 5. Hey, this is a completely different type of Halo. The gunplay is different. The story features 2 different teams, half of which you don't know from a hole in the wall. If you don't like it, fuck you, don't buy it. I would not have bought Halo 5. No. Wouldn't have bought it. And then if they came out afterwards and said, like, oh, the people who didn't buy Halo 5 just aren't real Halo fans, and you know, they never respected us in the first place or whatever, like, that would be, I would never buy another 343 game again. Like, people didn't agree with the direction they took. I certainly didn't. I liked it for what it was. I played the campaign. I thought it was okay. I don't give a shit about 85% of the characters. All I give a fuck about is literally Chief, Arbiter, and Buck, and that's all. I don't want to play as anybody else, and I don't care who plays them. I don't care if they got fucking Terry Crews or Rob Van Dam or Stone Cold Steve Austin to play a fucking Halo character. I want to play a Master Chief. I want to play a fucking Master Chief game, and that's why I buy Halo. So I don't know. I mean, I just feel like there's got to be a middle ground between, like, hollow platitudes and ultimatums that we can maybe toe to, like, not lose your entire customer base before you even start building it.
Yeah, and I feel so. Something that we haven't really touched on, maybe we did quickly, is he seems like he tried to throw other people under the bus for a mistake that he had, just to be like, oh, well, like, these people did it. Like, you know, everything's fine. These people did it, but look what we did that made us different than them.
Right.
Dude, the most perfect thing he could have said was, hey, this was our first attempt. We fucked up. Yeah. We did what we could to fix it. Also, even following up after he makes the comments about the other companies, he could be like, hopefully EA does something in the future for their Anthem. Or we can understand and appreciate what Bethesda is doing for their Fallout 76. Instead, it was just negativity, where it's like, yeah, well, look at them. They did it too.
Yeah, it's like if you get into a fight with your girlfriend and it's like, oh, yeah, well, I made it right. And, you know, I always wanted to make sure that I made it right first. You know, the other guy, you know, he made a sappy Instagram post for his girl. I bet that didn't even make anything better. You know, like...
honey, it was over the jeans, honey. It was over the jeans.
Honey, I swear to God, I went to church. No, it's just So it's a little pot kettle for me, and I appreciate, I kind of respect what he said, because, you know, there are a lot of things that big AAA developers can learn from the little guys, and indie games are so, like, the indie game industry itself is just a whole nother animal, and there's a lot of people pouring their heart and soul into these projects, and, you know, the community trusted him. He took a leap of faith, made it right, and, you know, kept his head down and let the work speak for itself, which I have to respect. I don't think that Bethesda or BioWare could have gotten away with that. I don't think they're way too under the gun. You know, it's way too high profile, and I don't think they could have gotten away with radio silence for 3 months and then being like, here's Fallout 76, you know, whatever the new thing is, the new, like, edition is called. Here it is.
I mean, EA and BioWare kind of did. They released their roadmap, and then people were like, hey, how about instead of telling us what we have to pay for in the future, how about you just fix the fucking game?
Right.
And they didn't. They didn't do anything. They made it worse.
Yeah. They did. They are coming out with another thing, another, like, content patch or something, like a big update that's free. But then, like, I mean, I feel like we could spend a whole episode just, like, harping on Anthem, but, and then yeah, I know. They released they were like, oh, we're gonna have a gameplay stream for our new like content update, and then they canceled the fucking stream. They were like, we had technical difficulties, so we can't go live today, but we'll tell you about it some other time. And that to me was just like, just that game in a nutshell.
Yeah.
Dude, I remember when me and Bob played Mass Effect Andromeda at PAX. We got the multiplayer demo, and we were both like, okay, this looks like a lot of fun, but it feels a hell of a lot like Mass Effect 3 multiplayer, and it's not a whole lot different. But I'm sure this is going to be good. And then we didn't get any time to talk to anybody, and nobody seemed to want to, like, talk about the game.
No.
And then when it came out, it was like, oh, this is why. This is why.
Yeah.
This is why literally everybody put their head down. We were like, "Hey, can we talk to a developer about Mass Effect Andromeda? Want to hear what's new?" I mean, the multiplayer was still pretty good, but the rest of that game, ugh. Moving right along. Whew, I need some water. I'm like, you know, you don't do the podcast for a week, the lungs, they get a little tight, you know.
Yeah.
So there's a website called G2A. Have you guys used it at all? Do you know what it is?
No, but I know people who have.
Yeah, I've heard of it, but I haven't used it.
Apparently, and this is probably a broad strokes and maybe even mostly wrong description of it, but as I understand G2A, it's like a game key marketplace. So for, like, people that can, like, sell game keys that they haven't used, but, like, you can't return them at the store, or, like, you can't return them to Steam, you can resell them on G2A. And I guess it gets a ton of shit because you can, like, pirate or steal keys or fish keys and then sell them. So a lot of people look down on it, and I've seen some other, like, shitty articles about it lately. But most recently, a employee of G2A was caught attempting and failing to bribe other gaming sites for good coverage. So just like a huge yikes on the radar. But apparently a G2A employee literally hit up multiple game websites and was like, hey, you know, we'll pay you, you know, in some form or another, whether it's like straight cash or like addition or like ad space or whatever, if you write favorable articles about us. You know, if it's a website, let's say like IGN, that does like a daily deals type thing, you know, hey, feature us on there as like, hey, you can only get this over at G2A, and like it's a great website to buy shit. And multiple websites were like blew the whistle on him and were like, yeah, you can't bribe us, bro. And G2A's official Twitter denied the company's consent, and they said that this employee just went rogue and just
was right.
Yeah,
because that's what they do.
Yeah, it's exactly what employees do. Because I know what I want to do when I'm at my 9 to 5 is do something that I'm not getting paid to do. That's outside of the scope of my role. So you know that's like 100%. Like, hey Dom, go fix the vending machine. Oh, okay. Am I getting paid right now? No. You gonna give me any money for it? No. Okay. Hey Dom, design us a new T-shirt for our team. Am I gonna get paid for that? No. I think I'm just gonna make some more phone calls. So yeah, G2A was like, we didn't tell him to do this. He did it by himself. He just must have thought it was a great idea. But we don't consent to this whatsoever. So is this bullshit or is this bullshit?
That's bullshit. Absolutely fucking bullshit. So
You never know.
The only way it's not bullshit is if these employees make commission off the keys that sell. You're telling me that this guy's gonna go out of his mind to sell a Grand Theft Auto key for $19 and make a 10% commission on it, make a buck. You're telling me he's gonna go to those extents to make a quick buck? No, I mean that I'm the person that used to eat crayons in elementary school for money.
Yeah.
So I'd do anything for a buck too, but that seems like a lot to make pennies on the dollar. I think it's absolute bullshit, and instead of the whole company going down, might as well throw one guy under the bus.
Yeah, absolutely. They just use him as like a scapegoat, and it reminds me of the Jimmy Kimmel skit when after like the whole the last, I'm not even going to use the word for it, but the last Patriots related scandal that went on for far too long and cost way too much money and was completely useless and actually a witch hunt. But they had like Matt Damon and Chris Evans and people like that, like saying, "I'm the locker room guy. I acted alone. It was me. Leave Tom Brady out of this. I did it. Just me." I'd be afraid. I would be like not surprised if I saw this dude on like a fucking folding chair in the middle of an empty room on camera, like reading off a script.
I was not told by the company to
G2A and its subsidiaries, and you hear like a gun cock in the background. He's like, "Okay, no, I'll read it faster."
Yeah, I don't know. First of all, that skit is absolutely hilarious. But if it was me that like I was the asshole that got caught doing it, I would go right to the big man, like, "Hey, I'll take the fall for you guys. What do you guys want to pay me? What do you want to pay me? I'll take the fall."
Oh yeah,
maybe that's what he did.
This job sucks anyway. You're paying me $10 an hour. See you later, pal.
I'll take a nice fat severance package. Maybe a nice couple weeks on the Cape.
Free dinner, maybe, something.
All right, picture this. Let me paint you the scene. Right, big opening just came up at G2A. Right, they need someone to fill that position. He's down there. He's like he's the site contact manager or something like that. But he wants to go a little bit more corporate. So he's throwing out these emails. Maybe if I get these bigger websites, to promote us a little bit, I'll shave some off of my income, pay them off. I'll show the bosses, hey, look what I did for you. Boom, I get the promotion. Has anyone checked the G2A website recently? If they're hiring, maybe there's a big promotion coming up.
Big swing and a miss on that method. Now the guy has no job and no promotion.
Right, well, yeah. Because once you reach out to journalists, I'm going to say at least 65% of them have some form of integrity.
Yeah.
And somebody's going to say something.
Yeah. It's like, I mean, especially if it's that off guard, too. And let's say, I mean, that'd be like, an indie developer or something emailing us and saying, "Hey, we'll pay you guys $300 each if you write like a 500-word review and give it at least like an 8.5." I'm like, buddy, here's my Venmo. It's a Cash App, Don Mahoney. So yeah, no, it's like, but if somebody's not getting paid, or us, like we do this because for the love of the game, married to the game. But for somebody who works at IGN, maybe who probably makes 60, doing this, like he doesn't fucking need an extra $100 or something, or maybe he does. But like 9 times out of 10, I'm going to take that over my job, especially if you're a journalist. And like you said, Rob, like the majority of them that have integrity, you can just straight up lose your job and never get another one again if you find out, if it uncovers that G2A fucking bribed you. Look at the dude from GameSpot. But
that shit happens all the fucking time, though.
Yeah. Dude, look at the game. Do you remember what happened with GameSpot with Kane and Lynch?
I don't.
So GameSpot,
it's familiar. It's familiar, but
so essentially, Jeff Gersman, it was back in 2007. GameSpot was like plastered with Kane and Lynch ads for months, and I remember this because I was working at GameStop at the time, and Kane and Lynch was like, they were pushing that game so fucking hard. And I was like, it looks okay, I guess. It looks kind of cool. But yeah, they had a huge, like a massive, I think it was IDOS too. I think it was an IDOS game. They had a massive ad campaign for it. GameSpot was fucking wall-to-wall Kane and Lynch. Like ads, banners, backgrounds, wallpaper, all that shit. All over the place. And essentially what had happened was there was apparently a either written or unwritten understanding that in exchange for all that ad space and shit like that, or as repayment for the ads or something or whatever it was, that GameSpot would give it a favorable score. And then I think Jeff Gerstmann gave it a 6 and gave it a fucking awful review. Like, overall, just was like, yeah, this game's trash. Fuck that, and basically refused to give it a positive review, and they fired him.
What?
So they fired him. They fired him, and apparently, like, he came out later and was like, yeah, I got fired because I refused to, like, fluff Kane and Lynch. Because they said he couldn't be trusted as an editorial director because he, like, wasn't pushing, like, their narrative or whatever.
Well, people say that shit all the time about IGN and Call of Duty
Yeah.
People say it all the fucking time, that they have the ad space on their websites, and you'll always see an ad for Call of Duty, and then every single year there's always a favorable review for it.
Mm-hmm.
The biggest fucking gaming website in the world, and the biggest fucking gaming franchise in the world.
Yeah.
Hold
I mean,
hands.
if they have the same guy review it every year, like, maybe I can buy, like, okay, the same guy reviews it every year. This is clearly, like, a Call of Duty super fan, and he's
Right.
going to love these games no matter what Activision shits out. Maybe I can see that. Like, they have a 14-year-old with, like, Mountain Dew Code Red and fucking Doritos with, like, the double XP codes on it, just littering his desk, and he's going to give this game a 9 or better every single time. But yeah, it is kind of sketchy that it's just always like that. I feel like it's a low-hanging fruit at this point because it's, like, stating the obvious, but...
The worst part about G2A is the fact that nothing goes to the developers.
Yeah.
Because everything's so fucking reduced in cost, and these are keys coming from who knows what source, none of it is given back to the developers. And, like, you'll see in the tweets and the Twitter threads, look, if you're going to use this fucking website, just pirate our game.
Yeah.
Or contact us, and we'll give you a copy.
Yeah, I saw a bunch of that. I think, I can't remember what developer it was, but I just saw that, where somebody was like, hey, for all the folks out there who might use G2A, if you're considering buying our game on there, just illegally download it.
Right.
Which is wild. But I kind of have to respect it.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, you do what you want to do, but, I think in this day and age, I think it's, especially for smaller developers, like, developer support is becoming an important thing for people who feel supported by those developers in the first place. So, and the pack is, the herd is being thinned, left and right with developers that can be trusted. So, I mean, it's one of or can be trusted implicitly, I guess I should say. So, you gotta, I guess, pick your battles. So I had like a billion other things that I wanted to talk about, but I think we're coming up on the hour now. I need a shower because I fucking reek from the gym, and now I also smell like hamburger and onions because that's what I ate as soon as I got home because, just want to hit the nice Command Z on the workout there. So why don't we go right ahead and, as per tradition, land that train. Christopher, tell me something. All right. All right, guys, that was episode 136 of Not Another Game. Robert, tell me something good.
Fuck. I got nothing either this week.
Oh, my God.
And nothing. Look, there's been a lot going on recently.
Yeah, no, I know. No, trust me. Don't I know it. Don't tell me. Big Wicked Good Gaming suck it on my end from my fucking neighbor who hit my car and refused to own up to it. Straight up dead refused it right in front of my face, so I'm on the hook for 500 bills. So keep those bits rolling in, people, because daddy needs a new bumper. Yeah, so thanks for messing up my radiator. Thanks for messing up my start-stop sensors. Thanks for messing up my driver's side door, which doesn't open. Thanks a lot. Big shout-out. Big shout-out. To my good pal and our recurring guest, Johnny Rootbeer, who just announced that he and his wife are officially expecting their first child.
Oh, yeah, I forgot. Oh, we were just talking about it the other day.
Big shout out to him. Hey, and shout out to Cole Show 13, who just dropped in the chat. He said, sorry I caught the tail end of this, but just wanted to stop in and say, as a podcast listener, I love what you guys put out there. Your content is great. Keep it up, dudes. Cole Show 13, you just made my week, man. Thank you so much, dude.
There was
really,
there
really
was an
appreciate it.
85% chance I was going to cry myself to sleep tonight. Now there's a 95%.
Oh, and another one, skippable cutscene. Got here before the end. Love you, degenerates. I can't wait to listen on Spotify.
98% chance I cry myself to sleep tonight.
Oh my
Look at all the love
Wow,
pouring in.
congrats
We
on the
never.
love.
What's crazy? We never get this. It's usually just "fuck you, Rob. You're a fat idiot."
What if you just followed that up with, by the way, fuck you.
As he was typing it out.
Oh my god.
Oh shit!
And he goes,
There, yep, and there it is. And there it is. Yep.
But yeah, shout out to you guys, and shout out to Johnny Root Beer, good friend of the program, good friend in real life, great friend in real life, and recurring guest. We love him so much, and we wish him and his lovely wife the best of luck, expecting their first kid. Still plenty of months away. I think they're due in January. We'll definitely have him on beforehand, but we're your internet dads. He's about to be a real dad, so big salute, big shout out to him.
Tomato.
Yeah, potato. So that is all we got. This has been episode 136 of Not Another Gaming Podcast. Thank you guys so much for listening. And if for some reason you're coming in on the tail end while live on the stream, you know what? That's okay, because you can find us on all your favorite podcast platforms. You can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Play Music, Stitcher, TuneIn Radio, Overcast, and now Radio.com and iHeartRadio. And guess what? If you can't find us on a podcast platform you like, yell at me on the internet. Be angry with me, and I promise to you that I will make it right. So check us out on all those podcast platforms. Make sure you steal your girlfriend's Amazon Prime and subscribe to us at twitch.tv/wickedgoodgaming because it's free, and I would be willing to bet that on Prime Day there's going to be some stupid deal on subs where like every sub counts as 5 or something like that. So if you're listening to this... Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So
Okay,
make sure you get that Amazon Prime password from your girlfriend while she's sleeping today. Do it today, so that way on Prime Day you could subscribe to us, and maybe we'll get like double comped for subs or something like that. These fucking links in the chat. But yeah, thank you guys so much for listening. We love you with all our hearts, and we'll see you next week.